Especially innovation. Cynthia.
Yeah. That's the other mentor.
Okay. That's pretty, is there another right spot? Yeah. I could just sit right here and get all that out there.
Sure.
I assume she's gonna sit here, but, do we have one more seat on the phone?
Or she can sit here and. Chairman, sir, chair. Okay. Is there another item I would mention? You good? So that's fine. Oh.
Sorry, wait,
Just better than.
yeah.
Yours are good. That's what you did one.
You're on the tongue, yeah.
We're starting off with one like this.
Well, it's up to you.
Yeah, it's up to you. It's up to you. Right. Good with that. Calling to order the January 16, 2025 meeting of the Historic Resources Commission here in room 204, 111 North Front Street. The time is now 4:03 p.m. The next business meeting of the commission will be Thursday, February 1st, 2025 at noon, next door in room 205. The next hearing of the commission being February 15th, 2025 at 4 p.m. here in room 204, 111 Front Street. Jacqueline, raise your right hand. You swear to tell the truth in your testimony before the commission this evening.
I do, Jacqueline Mizell.
Thank you. And starting with the introduction of the commissioners here present, starting with my very far.
Hi, Stuart Gibbony.
Hi, Mega Senna. Cynthia Nunn.
Madam Teacher.
Tamika Baba.
Clyde Henry.
Joseph Cade.
Michael Ford.
Thank you. Are there any items of public forums?
No items of public forum.
Okay. Having no items of public forum, I'm moving on to approval of the staff approvals.
So,
Second.
Having a motion in a second, is there any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, abstention, motion passes. Moving on to approval of the minutes from the last meeting, which was December 19th, 2024.
So, go ahead.
Second.
So who's the motion, just for clarity?
Yes.
Okay. And Stuart is the second, so motion in a second, is there any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, abstention, motion passes. On to certificates of appropriateness for this evening, starting with any note on the case number 1, which was supposed to be withdrawn.
Yeah, so the applicant for that application, they originally, or there's the same owner, but a different applicant came before the commission, I want to say in October. And then they had modified or submitted a new application that was a little bit different or proposed something that did not meet the condition. The applicant has since modified application. Okay. Well, the applicant said.
Well. Oh, it's, yeah.
Yeah. That's right. See, one of them like this. Okay, so working with the West Lights, the applicant for that first application had modified their application so that it was going to be the same exact application that was approved in October, so they withdrew their application. They still have that COA.
Okay, great, thanks. Moving on to then case number 1, which is 1478 Brandon Road. Ready here, 1478 Brandon Road. Do we want to pass that and come back?
Yeah, we can come back.
Moving on to 640 Oakwood Avenue. Is there an applicant here for 640 Oakwood Avenue? On board.
Michael, good.
Before you both sit down, each raise your right hand. Do you each swear to tell the truth in the testimony before the commission this evening?
Yes.
Do you each state your full name and association with property for record?
Judy Jamila Brown.
Okay, and you are?
Judy Jamila Brown.
No,
I'm the owner.
Uh-huh.
Susan Keeney, Columbus Landmarks.
Thank you. Have a seat. Okay.
Okay, this application for 640 Oakwood Avenue is in response to a code violation. So the proposal here is to repaint brick that was painted without approval to match the original brick masonry colors, with the section of brick that was painted and then the remainder of the building, it remains unpainted. So an application for paint removal was staff approved in October 2024. The work was unsuccessful in removing the paint, and the applicant has submitted a packet which shows their testing and some pictures and the results of that. So at the January business meeting, the commission asked if the applicant could do a small test patch using the proposed red paint color and then submit a photo. That way, if the match was unsuccessful, the applicant would not have to buy a lot of extra paint. And then the commission asked to clarify that only the painted area is proposed to be repainted. So in response to the commission feedback, the applicant has submitted photos of the proposed paint colors next to the original brick. And so in general, the recommendation for this application is to recommend approval of application COA 2400626 at 640 Oakwood Avenue with any and all clarifications to be submitted to HPO staff for review and approval prior to issuance of the certificate. That recommendation is based on the city code standards for alterations, specifically numbers 2, 5, 6, and 12, as well as the guidelines regarding masonry and the guidelines regarding painting.
Did you make a recommendation as far as what you think of it?
We do have a proposed paint color that we wouldn't recommend specific, just that it matches closely as possible. The applicant has included the paint colors that are side by side that they're proposing. So you can, coming up here we go. So the images that you see before you on the screen are what the applicant is showing, simply those paint colors next to the unpainted brick.
What would the applicant like to add before the commission has further discussion?
You want me to go? You want to go? Okay, so the colors that you see, we really tried, I specify a lot of Sherwin-Williams paint. And so we took the brick and we tried to get that color match that they have. They could not do it. So we got as close as we could to the various tones in the brick. And what the proposal is when the weather is warm is to really do a blend, and the property owner is an artist. And so she's gonna do her best to, we may even do another workshop where we talk about how you blend colors and things like that to match what was existing. So there is no true match with any specific paint color, but we'll do the best we can. We'll do a base coat and then maybe layer over another tone with a little bit of black over the top. So it's a weathered brick. And what, just to add further, this was a really good experiment. We worked with a really experienced masonry contractor. I wish more people could have come to witness it and observe how or why it's not a good idea to paint brick, particularly brick that is that coarse in texture, because it just absorbs you'll never get it off. I mean, this masonry contractor that we had, he's been over 30 years of experience, and he just sighed, he doesn't like to fail, but it didn't work. So painting, we appreciate that that's the next best step that we can do.
I to confirm, they're only painting the brick that was.
Yes. But we don't want to do this again.
Yeah.
I might suggest as well, though, there is a bit of a pediment on the short walls coming beyond the porch. It may be that should be painted more in keeping with what the concrete looks like as opposed to the red color, but it's just a thought. The cat control.
We have right here, so it's steps on top of the brick. So they probably are concrete or something.
I'm not sure where you're pointing.
See these stacks, they kind of sit on top of those brick piers.
Yes.
Yeah, so what the commission is suggesting is maybe not paint the caps red, since that would have been a different color than the brick, but to match like the concrete color that they might have been.
Oh, okay. Do we need to submit a color for that as well?
Yes, so we would recommend, submitting any colors, and if the commission is comfortable, that can be submitted to staff. Okay.
Would that be just like a cement color, a gray color?
Yeah, so
Gray
that
is
probably would have been a cement.
Because it was never,
Very close to gray, right?
it was always painted. Mhm. And I hear what you're saying.
Yeah, so now that it's been repainted, well, the best next thing, or the next best thing is to try to get it back to the original color as close as you can. So it's probably gonna be something similar to a gray. There might be some, neighboring homes in the area where you can kind of get an idea if there's not any underside or areas where you can really see what it was. It's probably something pretty close to a grayish color.
Okay.
Right now, make a motion with recommendation.
To, accept with the paint colors that you chose as submitted, the paint colors to be chosen or approved by accept.
Okay. There's a motion, is there a second?
Second.
Having a motion, and a second, any further discussion? And for record and clarification, this doesn't include the action cap as well.
Yes.
Having no further discussion, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, abstention, motion passes.
Thank you.
Thank you.
That was easy.
Moving on to
Thank you.
We haven't got the hard thing.
590 Franklin Avenue. City here for 590 Franklin. We'll come back to that one as well. Moving on to 439 North High Street. Right. You swear to tell the truth and testimony before the proceeding.
I do.
State your full name and association with property records.
Chris Follett with DSA Architects, representing the architectural firm and the owner trying to get this done.
Thank you, Jack.
This application for 439 North High Street is in response to the vehicle crash which damaged the storefront in September. So the overall proposal is to repair the storefront and facade area that was damaged by that accident. And that would include reinstalling existing signage, existing awnings, and existing light fixtures. And then to also replace the damaged column with a new cast limestone column, to replace damaged or broken glass, and to repair the stone header and install a new metal channel at the back side of that stone header. And then to construct a new concrete block knee wall finished with stucco to match the wall that was damaged, and then the wall at that southern end of the storefront as well that continues on. So at the January business meeting, the commission asked if the existing signage would be reinstalled, and then asked the applicant to make sure that the drawings reflected this. The commission asked what the proposed filler material would be at the stone header, and asked to include any product materials and how that would be accomplished. And also noted that Portland cement base should be avoided. The commission asked if the applicant could include details on the proposed column material, such as if it was going to be limestone, concrete, or fiberglass. So in response to the commission feedback, the applicant has submitted revised and additional drawings. And then just going over those, I think the staff recommendation here would be to include some information about what the filler material is proposed for the stone header, for the appearance part of it, whether that would be epoxy that is not the structural epoxy like the anchor epoxy will be. And then if the filler, there's also a note that it seems to apply to sandstone lintels and sills and use of mechanical piece, so just clarification. There are lintels and sills that are supposed to be repaired. And then if there also notes a lithomix product, and that is supposed to be what the product for the filler would be, and then what pins will be used, material such as, and we've seen healing ties before, stainless steel pins are pretty common. And then the doors appear to be pretty severely damaged, so just clarification if this will actually be replaced, and if the door will be replaced, to include product cut sheets or the drawing of the replacement door. And then the cast limestone, or also it's reconstituted stones, that's generally made of Portland cement, stone aggregates, and then some chemical mixtures to modify that cement to get that appearance. So the commission will just need to discuss if the proposed replacement material can be supported. So staff recommends approval of application COA 250009 at 439 North High Street with the following conditions, and that is that the applicant submit materials and cut sheet information to staff for final review and approval. The basis for the staff recommendation is the standards for alteration, specifically numbers 5, 6, and 12, as well as the guidelines regarding storefronts and doors and door windows.
Mr. Chair.
Yes.
I need to recuse myself.
Reflect that Clyde and his reviews. Is there anything you would like to add?
The pinning is, they're going to drill into the existing lintel to try to get that to connect, and the epoxy is for the pin, it's not for the front. They're gonna use a grout to try to fix that crack above, which if you look at actual past pictures from Google Earth or whatever, that has been there for a while. That was not part of the damage of the front. You can see the crack if you zoom in a little bit, but that crack's been there for some time. But while we're doing all this, we are trying to fix it. I'm working with the contractor, Hanlon Rinaldi, about the culture, or the stone work and what we're gonna do with that and the cast of that. And again, and also we are trying to find a wooden door that meets all the conditions of the size of that door and the type of door.
Thank you, sir, for questions.
Have you gotten the details that staff should get about the doors? Stuff does seems pretty straightforward.
I have a question, if I may. The return of the column, you may be reading this incorrectly, but it says there may be 2 layers of smooth polymer stone, which is what you're gonna wrap on the sides.
That's correct.
So is it real stone or?
No.
Okay.
It's a cast.
Do we, does it match?
We're trying to get it to match as close as we possibly can. I mean, we've even looked into, there's some of the pictures that show the column in front of it and we looked into cutting that and actually cutting that, and it's just not possible.
Okay. So the company that's doing the casting for the facade of the column, it's not slivers that could be.
That's what we tried, and if there's one picture, I think in the lower left, you can see right there, there's a stone right in front.
Okay.
That is the column, and that's why it's there, because we're trying to see if we could cut it, and anything we could find, they're afraid because it's so old, if cutting it, we're gonna cut it, we're gonna make it create even more seams.
So the company that's doing the front cap,
We're trying to find the best work for it. We don't have a name yet, but Hanlon Rinaldi is the contractor we're working with very closely on this. And again, once we be able to know for sure who is doing it and who can do it, because a lot of people aren't touching this. But yeah, we will get an idea.
I certainly appreciate you going through the efforts to put it back together. It's a lot of work. And I want to try to speak just quickly to the fact that I know you're wanting to get this done quickly as well. Just before we get too far, is staff in a position where if we came down to an appropriate approval that allowed staff to make sure the colors were reasonable, is that something that you could feel comfortable doing, or like us to answer that?
Yeah, absolutely. You can take a look. Are you thinking like a photo, just comparison next to a piece or existing columns?
The nice thing about it is we are lucky on it is that we are replacing the entire column in the middle. It's not like we're trying to mix and match. It's the entire piece. So it's going to only at the top and between the awnings will you notice that it's not quite, but we think we're pretty confident we can get it close.
I think I'd be comfortable with whatever we can help this, however we should do.
Just a thought, didn't need to talk for everyone, but I just thought I would put that out there. That might be a piece of information.
Yeah, it sounds like it's gonna be custom work, mixing and matching.
That's
Close to the number of samples.
It-
So I think it's
correct.
that information about what gets closest.
And luckily we're right down the street. So yeah. But, interesting note on the age of the building. This was the first embalming building. This is where they did embalming, and it was the first place ever done in the central Ohio area. Quite a few people supposedly,
Big graveyards in that area.
that's exactly right. There is an underground tunnel under High Street, and supposedly when Lincoln was coming through on the train, he stopped by and got touched up. But it is, yeah. The original owner of the building does claim he has a locket of Lincoln's hair.
What's needed?
So that's how old it is, but yes, so we're doing everything we can for it. We're trying.
Make a motion to approve as staff recommended with the note that as the applicant works through specific details and mixing and matching and trying to make this as close as possible to what was there, they work directly with the staff and staff will approve it and then
Second.
And then, having motion a second, I'll bring up the discussion, there may be other discussion. Also, staff recommends, additional cut sheets and similar information on the door.
yes,
Is that okay?
yes, any detail that staff needs.
We may end up having to custom make the door. Because
You have to get that submitted to staff.
okay, no, I'm just, it may not, cut sheets may not be available. It may actually be a custom door.
If it feels uncomfortable,
Okay.
if they feel they don't have enough information or quite the design they need. But if it's a suitable design for empowering staff.
We could also accept a drawing, there's a drawing for the person who's gonna be making this.
Okay,
And I don't think the doors that are existing are historic. That needs to be a discussion point, so they would not necessarily need to match. They just have to be appropriate, styles for the building,
okay,
if that makes it easier.
it does.
And then one other clarification point, I just wanted to confirm, if, if we got the grout info, like what exactly that makeup's gonna be, you just wanna make sure it's not gonna be, some sort of like a Portland cement, just because that's gonna cause further damage and stuff.
No.
Mr. Chair, I do have one question. At one point, there was a blade side on the building. Did we determine whether that's salvageable, if it's there or not there? Or going back, the blade sign.
Sign, I can the applicant provides any guidance on the plate sign, if it's coming back.
I do not believe it is. I can verify that, but I don't believe it is.
So right now, it's not part of the application.
Right.
So I guess the advice from the commission and the other staff would be ultimately that it has to return home.
Okay,
So it's good or bad.
yeah, no, right now it is
Just
not.
like a step, if you were gonna do it, I'd say, hey, let's.
Yeah, no. Yeah,
Okay. Good luck.
Any other further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, abstention, motion passes.
thank you very much.
Thank you. We're going to back up real quick. To Dinky here, 478 Ladder Road. I have a record for what happened.
It's 1478.
If she ready to like,
Yes,
you swear to tell the truth in your testimony for the commission this evening.
yes.
And you state your full name and association with the property for record.
Elaine Brill Paris,
And you are the,
owner.
yeah,
This application for 1478 Brighton Road is the result of a code violation. So the application includes installation of wood porch decking with composite material, installation of vinyl and porch railing and balusters, and then painting of previously painted porch columns to a new color, so yellow. At the November business meeting, the commission had expressed concern about the porch material and the height of the post, noting they're generally unable to support vinyl material. The commission noted that they understand the porch historically did not have much in the way of a railing and that a new railing may be needed to building code and other requirements. The commission noted they could support wood railing with pickets, but we need to see a drawing and proposal. The commission also noted that if there is 4x4 wood supports underneath the vinyl, it may be possible to remove the outer vinyl shell and then reface the wood beneath with 1x wood pieces and add a cap on top, provided the post can be shortened if the applicant would like to explore that option. So at this time, staff recommends continuing application COA 2400 at 461 1478 Brighton Road to allow the applicant time to submit any revised information or revised proposal. The staff recommendation is based on the city code 3116.11 standards for alteration, specifically numbers 6 and 12, and then the guidelines regarding porches and stoops.
So that we've heard the staff's recommendation, and you have, what would you like to add at this time?
Just why is it being continued? Can I,
Okay, then this is the dialogue, so.
Okay.
Recommend.
okay, great. I was wondering, there was strictly a pole across, which I would have put back in. I had a carpenter who was from Ireland and he went back to Ireland. So I didn't have access to him or that kind of expertise again. So I wasn't thinking, but I just put up a railing that I felt would be consistent with the style of the building. I didn't go wild on colors or materials. And I also have a friend who has a grandchild that visits that part. So I did need to have more of a secure railing with more spindles and things. So that is why I chose that one. But I was wondering if I know the vinyl is a issue in and of itself. But I was wondering if it would be possible just so that from the street and passersby, if it would be possible to paint the vinyl more of a flat color so that it would appear to be, wood. I would be more than happy to do that. Because it's not a wild style or anything, and it is wrought iron spindles, which they had in 1910, obviously.
I will open this up to this discussion.
The spindles round or square? Yeah.
They're square and they have like a little cup on the top that mirrors the original post.
The bigger things that are black.
They secure into the rail itself.
Right, but black items, are they round or are they square?
They're round, I'm sorry.
That's what I thought, so, sure.
Why were these suspended really long?
Tall?
Yeah, they're kind of like, they have like a foot of over length on them.
Oh, I see what you're saying. That is just the original. That's the original. It was a kit from Lowe's.
Okay, so they just never was cut back down.
No. That would not be a problem at all. I can, if that's, I don't think that's a problem. I just spoke with my handy person and he said that they're 4x4 wood underneath, so they could be trimmed fairly easily, I believe.
Problem with painting those, paint tends not to stay and we've never approved that. One possibility that I think might work is if you took the vinyl off, based it with wood. Just go down to Lowe's and get some 1x whatever's on there, put the wood all the way around. Bring them down to the height of the rest of it. I guess painting the black ones do better if they were square, but I could probably live with even them being round, painted white to match or the cream or, but and you could do a little trim on top, like it's current there, if you wanted to, but it had to be wood.
On the top of each spindle?
At the top of each post, if you wanted to, or if you
Oh,
wanted
I see.
to wear a little black wood, be fine.
Okay,
We don't have photographs of the original, so
Well, you had said it was a simple.
It was,
Just a pole on.
yes, it was.
It was the original.
Yeah, yes, I believe it was. If you see the one that runs down the center of the porch, there is one, that's still consistent. Yes, it was.
There are in that neighborhood, several other houses that just have a round about 4 inch diameter.
About that, like that. Yeah, it wasn't a pipe, it was a wood, I believe it was a wood.
Would make more sense.
It was wood and it was very substantial. And it was into the cement or whatever, the brick of the build. It was kind of put in with mortar, I guess. I don't know.
If we look at page 4, picture 4, I'm not quite positive, but there's some remnants of where it may have went into the masonry of the house and then went into the column on the other end. Was that perhaps where it was?
Yes, it is.
So it is lower than the code.
Is the whole assembly, but we're talking about this is fine.
Yes. So just face it with, yes. So you're just saying face it with a veneer of wood?
Well, I was just confirming that this was in fact all fine. That, you had heard, I didn't hear about the construction of that rack.
How do you do that?
I'm just struggling all the way around. This is like a vinyl kit for Alan.
The whole thing's fine.
Yeah.
Yeah, maybe that's, I was trying to remind me is. The other thing on the side, it terminates really weird, in that it doesn't terminate in the column.
It,
For
yeah,
the wall.
And then here's a big hurting too.
It, what,
there was, it goes, it permeates the whole, the structure of the porch and is grounded below, and there's a pole that sticks out.
right, no, I was over the railing itself. The idea of having an additional post next to the column. Odd.
Oh, that's the original post.
Right. It's the original column, but then you added that vinyl post right next to it, rather than bringing the railing. See right there, you can see the yellow.
Yes, yes,
That's your column, I take it. Then you got
yes.
this post, this gap in between. It's a little odd. Normally a railing would hit the column.
Okay, well, the column itself is not extremely secure because it has cement block footers. So it's not grounded into the ground. I'm trying to kind of let you know, I was I got this house 10 years ago. The area was in a lot different shape than it is today. And the house was not in great shape. So I'm just trying to give you a kind of a picture of,
I think you've done a good job.
Yeah.
If I could make a suggestion.
Yes.
to kind of sort of work with Clyde's suggestion. If you were able to perhaps replace the vinyl, all the vinyl with wood, right? So if you take those pieces, let's say they lift up off of those 4x4s. Leave the 4x4s, right?
yeah,
Put a piece of wood at the bottom, just like you see that white vinyl, right?
yeah, I get you.
I think with some decent craftsmanship, I think somebody could drill into that wood and you could put these right back in there and then mount them to a piece of wood at the top. And then wrap this as Clyde was mentioning video. So you could save all the metal and install it inside the wood.
Are the horizontal railings, top and the bottom? They're vinyl on the outside.
Yes,
Is there wood on the inside of those? Or not?
there's a sleeve, they post at the ends.
Not the post.
I'm sorry, no, they're vinyl.
The black items are going into.
Yes,
Are they 100% vinyl?
yes,
Okay, so there is no wood in there.
no. So basically, take out what I have and start over is
Yeah.
what it sounds like.
Actually, you might be better off just putting up a simple wooden rail and trying to save any of that.
But I think what you're hearing from the group here, uh, vinyl won't be acceptable as is. It'll have to be wood, and then we're okay to accept the black, metal,
Well, those are part,
if they
no,
paint it, once they paint it.
No,
If they want to salvage it.
that wouldn't work because they're part of the vinyl.
Yeah.
We all feel better if the spindles are wood.
What?
We all feel better if the spindles are wood.
Yes, I understand that.
Or you might consider a different type of design also. We've approved other, where it's all wall and the thing, right? There's lots of designs that are suited to this particular style for that maybe in the neighborhood been approved in the past that might be simpler and easier.
Okay, I guess what I'm asking, since I have to rip it all out and start over again, how much time do I have to complete the project?
We also have to talk about the deck itself.
Oh, you're kidding. I can't, you'll have to be somewhat, lenient. I mean, I can face it in wood or whatever you want.
We're not the ones who created the situation, so really, the issue here is that as far as timing goes, you need to maintain dialogue really with staff. Demonstrate that you're looking towards tradition, back to the commission with something that is approvable and acceptable. We're not the ones who created the condition, and really, this is about what we would have approved as a commission.
Right,
Had you notice.
I understand.
We're aware that we have a set of guidelines, we have to follow them.
What's that?
We have a set of guidelines.
Yes, I understand.
That's what we're trying to do.
Yeah,
As creatively
Sure.
and where you were.
We've never approved it.
One thing maybe to consider too, once we understand what you're doing with your final drawings and so forth, and once staff issues you a certificate of appropriateness, there's a pretty good amount of time from that's valid. So that may help you too. It's pretty lengthy.
okay,
So I think it'll be a little easier than you think, but we'll look at the addressing of this and then maybe continue it as staff recommended, but we'll need to talk about, looking at a rail that you may want, would need to come back to us.
okay,
And also, perhaps some alternative to the decking material. Material is not necessarily what we would consider within this set of guidelines,
sure.
but we
Okay.
have time.
So what happens? I don't think I can afford all those, the changes that you're suggesting. So
I'm sorry, I didn't understand.
I don't think I would be able to afford all those, so I would have to sell the property. So what happens if that happens? Well, then the code violation gets passed on to the new owner, or how does that work?
Well, I'm not sure if we can advise how that would sort of pan out, but what I can say is we'd be happy to work with you to figure out a solution in a reasonable amount of time so you don't have to incur other difficulties like selling a home and that sort of thing. I think it sounds like a lot up front, but if we take it piece by piece, it might go a little easier.
You could also do commercial.
Right.
On this picture, the board, the wide board, the band board on there, is that wood or is that vinyl?
All of the white material you see is vinyl.
Brown.
It's across.
It also tracks. Okay, I see it.
That, yes, that's,
'Cause,
regular vinyl or vinyl decking. That's,
yeah.
We've not had a scenario that I can think of, and Jack, correct me if I'm wrong, I think we've had a test case or an allowance of such a material on a back or rear deck or. I don't think we've seen it used both with the base and the deck.
Have you seen any other commission?
And other commissions, yeah, I want to say Victorian Village Commission might have approved treks before. So if we, need some example for those, we can certainly include those since we, for other districts that we have, if it's helpful to see.
I mean, maybe if the front board,
It's a true board.
yeah, and the deck itself, which is not visible, I mean, you don't see the deck itself, where it really shows up is that board going across there, especially with the artificial painting.
Yeah,
That may be something that we could entertain as a test case, I guess.
I'd like to know what other commissions.
Yeah, it'd be nice to see whether that's consistent.
Yeah,
We have, with Windows, we did ultimately select some Windows that and ended up with a approved list, so. Maybe that's something that we can explore on this case.
but the key is if you drew up a plan that said, here are the 6 things that need to happen, and you can pick them off one at a time.
yes.
You pick them up and do them one at a time so you can afford it, and that can be supported through the process.
I guess what I'm saying is it would be at least 15, 20,000 to repair, to rip off all the decking, have it, I don't have that kind of money.
I think we have a possible path on deck. If we can repair, if we get rid of the front panel.
Can I ask you a
Yeah,
question?
I'd be happy to do whatever remediation we can, do.
Because that's the piece that really glares. The rest of it, I
What's happening? I just.
think this is.
I have a quick
It's my
question
first
for you, if I
thought.
can.
Sorry,
What year did you put on the decking on the top? Do you recall?
About 3 years ago.
Okay, and the rails were put in maybe a year ago.
Yes,
Okay. So I saw this photo from 2022 and it appears that the bigger portion of what this came to was the vinyl handrails and so forth.
Right.
Okay. So my thought would be that we would consider exploring some options about perhaps trimming what is existing in wood. As you mentioned, as a test case, that might be something to consider if it is within our option to look at.
because I tried to be consistent with the color against the brick and things and not to be a glaring and to be a wood grain and all that. I'm 70 years old and I knew I wasn't going to be able to repaint it every year or afford to repaint it every year. So I paid 71 for the building 10 years ago. So I really, I've been consistently upgrading it and putting whatever money I've had to keep it up. But I'm not, it sounds like I'm being belligerent. I'm not. I would like to work with you. I believe in historic restoration and preservation, and I believe in your mission. So I really honestly do. So I will do whatever I can to remedy.
Do you have a tenant on one side or is?
I have both now. I used to live in one side and now live south of Maine. But
This isn't your.
I'm
It's
sorry.
not your home. You don't live, you don't.
No,
reside.
I don't.
Yeah,
No.
that changed.
So you have a tenant in both?
I do
sides?
now. Yes, as of last October.
If you give it to both sides,
Do what?
if you add kid to both sides,
Yes, it's the whole house. It's a duplex.
so we have it on both sides.
Yeah, it looks like the power is different on both sides.
Right.
I mean, so I think the one side, well, yeah, with some point, that's fine. I mean, it looks like it happened before before the circle area. That's why there's a difference.
So the only thing I would say, though, and I know we're trying to work with the applicant, again, and I've learned this from some of you, to be careful about precedent setting. So it has to be, it's really, again, so I think if I need staff, research and all that, to be very, very careful that you're not setting a precedent. And I know, I appreciate the financial hardship, but typically that's for your primary place of residence. So I think that changes it a little bit too, and, we can consider that, but it has to come through the official city channel, where the city tells us where you apply for it and the city approves it, and then we can consider that. I just want to be careful that we are following all those steps. And again, we totally want to work with you. We also have to, are obliged to follow the guidance.
Yes,
So just want to make sure we are like crossing all the T's and dotting the I's.
sure.
I think if we have an example of another commission who's on tracks the face board, maybe where it would, I think I could be comfortable speaking that as a test case here.
So
I'm much less enthusiastic, but fine.
one thing I always think about in the context of Trex is, it is still what continues to come into the industry, right? This new modern building materials, it's replacing the fact that I talk with so many friends, construction trim world, finding good quality lumber is at an all-time high. And even when you do find clear trim lumber wood, it doesn't last more than a couple of years now, just because new growth lumber is not responding to what lumber is. If I would look at this very photo right now and really sort of say to the commission that was, if we took the handrails, all the handrail discussion out of this, and you look at just purely the deck, the face trim board, and brown, does that relate to the brick? Because the brick color is not going to change. But this track board cannot be painted. It doesn't take paint never adhere to it. It's right off. Could you live with that brown finish against the brick? And you've been told this was put.
I could.
Yeah.
Can we pull up the 2022 photo?
But just bear with me one second, guys. I think my question here is that go back to this is this something we should then consider for just a test case for the decade in our own districts, aside from which ones and the others? We're trying this out because from the street, from this point of view, I don't see as much of this now. A little bit more bothered because that has the faux grain, wood faux grain. We try to discourage faux grain products, faux grain wood
Okay,
materials, finishes. Though the faux grain on the top of the Trex deck board itself is probably helping the fact that it's vinyl become a little bit more non-slip in nature, which is what we should vinyl products.
Yeah, I mean, I think your point is, if we look at it as a test case, looks successful. If it does set a precedence, do we allow it? And maybe we do, because maybe we're at that point where it's going to be required because it'll be the best material to be using.
Right, and under the conditions that it matches the color and it's not glaring from screen.
Right. So doing it as a test case really is a test case because it's really something that we would be considering as a.
I think it's right.
Sure.
We had to allow non-wood windows into the mix because wood windows that were being purchased that were 2 years old were simply falling apart because the lumber was just failing after people get investments on windows. So are even clad windows, for example, is being one of the things that, is this something that we really ought to just think about? To me, the distracting things are the white handrails around spindles. I could probably be very convinced that the deck board and deck fascia, let's see how this thing ages. And actually the color probably works with the brick, and the brick of the deck is not going to change. And perhaps if there's a way to deal with the handrails.
It's like it was just laid right over the porch.
Yeah, I agree. One of the reality too, and I think made this point too, wood floor is painted and wears very quickly.
yes.
I think from the tree that if you look to historic properties, that don't necessarily maintained on a yearly basis, what's the bigger sin? Is it the unpainted, unkempt wood that's peeling? Or is it the Trex that you can't really even tell it's Trex from the street? And so I'd be supportive of this as a test case as well. And I do agree, I'm having a hard time thinking about how you might be able to clad this in an economical way. it seems like starting over is probably the more viable route. Now you can explore that, of course, and try to.
Well-
Now I'm switching gears, onto the handrails.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I think that's gonna be a tall.
the railing
stretch.
thing, I can, you know, I made a mistake in not coming to you initially, and I apologize. I can probably take it all out and start over. But the entire porch would have been a different situation. But I appreciate your creativity and your thoughtfulness.
Can I ask about the yellow paint?
It was actually there. That was, I was just kind of going over what they had there.
So you painted over the yellow with more yellow?
Yes.
Which is it.
Bad. Don't ever paint any brick or stone.
Okay. Okay,
That's the most difficult.
okay.
So did you deck it because the original material was faded?
Yes, it was it was very unstable, and I had to do something. He did it very, very carefully. It's very, very solid. And he poured more footers than were necessary, so it is very good quality work.
Scott, believe that I can make a vote. Let's split this into two parts. So regarding COA 2400461 Dryden Road, Part A, I'd like to make a motion to approve the composite decking material as installed as a test case. If the applicant is willing to replace the fascia board.
Yes, and I'll get a hold of Mr. Henry. Is that who I do to get it approved? I will definitely get it approved before I put it in. Okay, sorry.
So, and yeah, as a test case, and well, I'll do it.
With certain conditions, recognizing that we're thinking it's okay as a test case because the color feels very similar to the original color. Probably, and it's still that brick, right, it is not a jarring, to me, element to the porch and to the overall house. I just make sure we have a basis for it.
Perfect. Would you like to do the second? And I can just incorporate that in the time.
Sure. Second, take those changes.
And I'm fine with her amendment.
I think that's the, it probably doesn't need to be the motion, but it's the rationale.
Yeah, right, so she can have it for future. So if we do it again, the precedent because of that reason.
Perfect.
Great, so there's a motion and a second. Does staff have any further discussion or points of additional information? Well, take part of that.
I think that's clear.
Okay, great.
Oh, just a point of clarification though, earlier, I do own both sides, so the address is 1478 and 80. So just,
And I think there is a relevant point that Cynthia brought up is should staff approve the new facing material be around porch edge of the deck? I think that would, I'm seeing a lot of nodding heads. So
Yeah.
there would also probably be a paint color that would have to match the truck's decking. That should also probably be staff approved. Is the motion there in the second all right with this amendments changes? Okay.
So it's not a Mr. Henry reach out, it's a,
what's that?
it's not a Mr. Henry reach out, it's reach out to the staff person.
Okay, will do.
You'll have to propose what you're gonna put on the new facing.
Sure.
Provide the paint sample showing your matching so that the decking base and have it all different. So
Okay.
staff. So having no further discussion, say all in favor, say aye. Opposed? Abstention?
Abstain.
Abstain, okay. We have one abstention for the record. And now we're on to the rest of it, which is the handrails, windows, the railings, that's the baluster. The one thing, before I make a motion, the one thing I do want to make or have on that is an exception here is that we have documented difference. There are other houses I did in the state that have a single full arrangement. You indicated there's a grandchild or a child at the property sometimes.
Yes,
that whole condition would not meet current life safety
Right.
regulations. You know, spindles are now required in less than 4 inch spacing, et cetera, by current code. So we do have that to grapple with. So there is some precedent for why the applicant, or some conditions instead of why I suggest changing it just away from the pole.
Once the pole's removed, you can't put back out without.
So,
But to continue.
well, I would recommend, we continue to give the applicant time to decide what they would like to do for the handrails, but when they come back, you know, it's not going to be simply put back. So if we're all okay with that, we will do that change that would, doesn't, welfare, life safety as well.
But I also think the discussion produced elements of, what's important in the commission, given the constraints within which we live, that hopefully you'll be able to document as part of the conceptual review, AKA, get rid of 1 foot higher than,
Yes,
you know,
okay,
so there's a bunch of stuff that we talked about, hopefully Jacqueline can document this for you, so that was.
okay. Well, I will be removing all the vinyl, that kit. So I will make it shorter and, would. okay,
A simple sketch would be very helpful for us, I think.
Okay.
Like, it doesn't have to be fancy, just like, these are the sizes of the pieces and how they go together, so.
okay.
So there's no.
Yeah, and for part B, make a motion to continue the remainder of the items, to a future meeting.
Okay,
Those, I'm saying, yeah.
Okay, there's a motion and a second, and then just the only thing, just about the applicant, but it's just stay in contact with staff regarding your continuance, so that they can always keep up to date on, you know, and validate you're working with them on a solution.
And if you have any questions, reach out.
I just have one, I think I've made whoever aware, I have a brother who's dying, has stage 4 cancer in San Francisco, and I'm going back and forth a lot, so I may have to ask for.
We just ask that you stay in touch with staff.
Okay, will do.
We don't deal with timeliness issues, it's just that it doesn't have any action, or if you're not working with staff on a regular basis, which does get from the agenda.
Okay,
So we're just asking you to stay in touch with staff.
sure, will do.
Best of luck with your.
Thank you.
Hearing no further discussion, all those in favor, can you say aye? Opposed, abstention, motion passes, just continue with the staff.
Thank you.
Okay, moving, just real quick here, moving through 590. And we would, this, so we are now on to case number 5, 132 South 3rd Street. If you could all stay standing, each raise your right hands. Each swear to tell the truth and testimony about the wish this evening.
Yes, I do.
You state your full name and association with the property director.
Jason Gay with Kappa, we're the property owner. Sam Rosenthal, Schooley Caldwell, architects for the project.
Brittany Catania, architect, Schooley Caldwell.
This application for 132 South 3rd Street, today is just proposing the architectural components and lighting. So the signage components will come back for a future application. And then we have seen the architecture a few times conceptually. So the applicant has brought, or tightened up a couple of things for an hour proposing final review. So we'll vote for this application today. And just to recap, the proposed work includes demolition of the 1920s brick addition, demolishing a lower portion of 2 windows, and then the masonry beneath those windows at the south elevation for new door openings, and then demolishing an east portion of an exterior non-historic brick parking lot wall. There's also an addition proposed, and that would be in the rear, east, and south elevations, and that addition would replace the existing addition as well as the existing asphalt parking lot. And as part of that new construction, there'll be a bar and rooftop terrace, and then also providing infrastructure, loading, and service space for the overall programming. There will also be lighting installed, so just clarification, an LED illumination from within the church tower, so new light fixtures will be on the exterior of that tower, and light will project with that lighting source on the interior. There will also be installation of uplighting at ground level locations, street lighting at the rooftop terrace, and then installation of C30 tape light under the addition entry stairs. And then just to confirm, the signage murals will come back for review at a future date. So in general, staff recommends removal of the signage from the final drawing since the signage is not proposed for action at this current time. That way we have all the architecture there and just the architecture on those drawings. And then, so the staff recommendation in general is to recommend approval of application COA 2400637 and 132 South 3rd Street with the following conditions, and that's the signage be removed from those architectural final drawings. The basis for the staff recommendation is the city code 3116.13, standards for site improvements, the guidelines regarding lighting, the city code 3116.14, standards for demolition, the city code 3116.11, standards for alteration, and then finally the city code 3116.12, standards for new construction.
Thank you. Is there anything in the applicant or is there discussion?
I don't think so. You all have seen this plenty of times. We've tried to incorporate all the feedback and appreciate the support through the process. So happy to answer any questions, but don't want to waste anybody's time either.
The only comment I would like to make is the applicant amenable to staff recommendation about recommending signage. That's great.
Absolutely. We actually this morning uploaded a new package of drawings that did take the signage off. So that should be in the portal.
And then additionally, staff guidance on this, I think we've discussed this in the past, the proposed mural content would need to come back yet too as well. Even though we know it's not signage, it's still not been determined what it is, so. Don't worry about the class 11 murals, so long as it doesn't appear like signage and be viewed as signage. I think that's another thing that had to be to your clear on the lines that the murals are also.
Yes.
What other comments, questions from the commission?
Curious, if you could go to, there's a night rendering thing showing the tower piece. I believe Jack said this was to be internally illuminated, but then I think one of the notes was talking about a light or LED light or something. Can you just describe what's happening with that tower piece with the lighting?
Yeah, I would just say that slide 32 should probably be deleted. The saturation of the light was just coming out bright, but basically inside the tower, there's going to be an LED light that shines up within it, and that's just the glow inside. We kind of oversaturated the rendering in slide 32, which made it look like it was being lit from outside.
Okay, that's what I was reading into it, so I appreciate you. And it also looked like maybe there was a strip on the outside of exposed lighting, but that's just the reflection in the rendering.
It is, and the earlier concepts, we actually had a signage band of LEDs that wrapped, so, but that went away.
And assuming from the ground, you haven't seen any light sources. This is all, you're
Shine.
going to be the light, but not a light source.
Correct.
Thank you.
I did a question as well. And it also discusses some of the lighting, the uplighting, the G21 fixtures. I'm assuming they're going to be very low to the ground.
We are actually proposing that they be in planters so that they're not permanently installed. I've had,
Where I'm going with this residual light noise, I mean, those are pretty low. So there's no shield or anything on those. So that's going to be, there are 3 or 4 of those around the corner of the building.
right,
Anybody walking around there is going to be blinded if they get into it too tight.
right. Those fixtures have shrouds on the inside that try to keep it from making a directional glare.
Particularly on that corner, that
Yes,
northwest corner.
Yeah.
It's going to be real tricky. That's where everyone's going to be congregating to get into the building. Just a thought, there might be some.
100% agree. We are also, I'm I'm optimistic we get to put that light in, but we are in the process of getting an encroachment easement approved. And technically that light might be a requirement to get axed by the city, so. Sorry.
But I do love the uplighting. I think it's really important to focus and showcase that building. I'm just thinking that, yeah. Come around the corner and be blinded for 20 minutes.
Absolutely.
But, yeah, okay, thank you.
I have another question, which you also have to satisfy. Are we funded to be able to build?
That's a very good question. We have, we're at 10 million out of 14 million construction, goal. Thank you. We won't start until we're about 11 and a half. We feel very good about trying to wrap that up in the winter as we head into spring. So the thought process, yes. So the thought process is that as we head toward permitting, the fundraising continues on to the point where we feel comfortable starting the project. So
I struggle with, as Sam knows, I struggle with demolishing without knowing that you have done to start building.
yeah, we would not start unless we felt highly confident that we could cover whatever we hadn't raised as we're raising the rest.
This is a notation question about site materials. Is your intention to use the same materials as the building in site also, or what's your plan for that? And that could just be some label that says to clarify.
So the intent for the caps on the vertical walls is to match. The paving material would be compatible, but a different material.
Do you have that?
It's specified in the landscape drawings. I just,
Not in here yet, so.
correct.
Okay. I support the design, but they'll take that the wrong way. I just want to make sure that that's part of the submission. So.
Absolutely.
Or is it the way to work?
I would be comfortable with staff approval on that, as long as the materials match the renderings that we're seeing here.
Question on the RTU, just, is that the intended color, the way that you guys would like that to be?
It is. It's intended to match the paint color that's on the front entry portal as well. That those elements, we don't want to introduce yet another color, but it was, yes, they will match.
Understood. Okay. Could you go to the elevation, that shows the whole composition? This is to the best of your knowledge, the proportions of view. Of course, this is a flat elevation, so. Different.
Yeah, so I think in, the actual experience, that's why we were intent on showing the perspective views, because yes, that you will see the red, but it won't be as dramatic because of how far back it is. And those boxes, each one of the little stepped up and downs is actually representative of the rooftop unit. The Revit model is pretty accurate.
So this is not custom screening.
They're painting the RTUs.
We thought it was a playful decision on, a mechanical piece that you don't really see very often and reflects what we're trying to do with the building.
I didn't know that that's or something.
Custom red one.
Right.
We're gonna remember them.
The rear elevation, I think, is reflective of, really where that comes out as people are approaching down State Street, and that corner of the building is exposed to vehicle traffic and also pedestrians. I just like the way that, it's a little bit different.
And my only other question for you is, I know on the original church structure on the south elevation, you're projecting to the doors. That does not impede upon the stained glass at all.
Oh, it does. There's an operable sash that we're removing and salvaging and putting back into the bar space of the addition. So yes, we're taking those pieces out. We are cutting the bottom of the frame.
So you are modifying. We have adequate documentation though on that as part of this approval, since the church is the listed element. And sort of the reuse of the element is undoubtedly done. Or I just want to make sure we're covered from a perspective of understanding, like, once that gets reused, then when we build, that has to stay in the building. It's-
So photo documentation of those original materials.
Yeah, I just want to make sure that's very clear, that's being used in the bar and the building, because I wasn't following that completely based on, but that was still in the project. I thought it was.
Right.
This, I just want to make sure it's carried through a document.
Absolutely.
That your COA closeout would be dependent on inspector finding some pieces in the bar.
Good point, yeah.
We can create an exhibit. We have obviously robust photos. We can create an exhibit.
Yeah. That says, that.
Any more thoughts?
What, do we need to do anything in regards to the issue that is explicitly linked to the step in the corner in the right of way? So I think you were going to be pursuing a right of way approval. Is there anything you need from us to on that pursuit of? I've already assumed these right of way for me.
It's, so those red rectangles are what we've submitted for the right-of-way encroachment. Our civil engineer is completing a closure exhibit as the last step there, and you'll have to write a $500 check.
All right.
But if
That's subject to city council, right?
ultimately it is, yes.
I mean, I think with the word consent, or conditional consent here, I would like to at least hopefully say that we could instruct staff or have staff to support our do that request to council.
That'd be great.
Yes.
If that's enough. If you need more, we can perhaps.
Usually that probably should. What this is. Their motion.
For C, oh, yeah, that's right. For CO 824-00637, 132 Southwell Street, make a motion to approve, with the caveat that, the package or remove the signage, since that's not part of today's approval. And, the landscape, the site plan be provided to staff so they can ensure that the material matches the material shown in the rendering. Oh, and confirming that the mural is not part of this approval as well, like we'll come back on that.
And additional supplemental details of documentation regarding the submit to staff.
As he said.
And is there anything we can put in, not demolishing until sufficient funding?
I think if either you support it at this point, you feel comfortable, or you don't feel comfortable.
Let's say I'm gonna be really unhappy if this, we demolish and then we earn double again. Whereas the knows that's happened before.
Understood, yes.
So,
There's a motion, there's a second. Second, yeah. Second, so much further thing I will bring on that. You might recall this was the great debate about what was included in the
Right.
listing.
right,
And most of what is proposed for demolition is not the word in the original listing.
I get it. Just had to make a point.
Any further discussion? Any further clarification? That's that.
No, I think it's clear.
Okay, all of those got it.
Aye.
Opposed, abstaining, motion passes. Great.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks a lot.
On that other matter, I do expect an update in the coming months.
Where are we figuring out that stained glass?
We're welcoming. You go.
Thank you.
On to conceptual applications, 11 South Champion Company. Okay. If you could also raise your hand. Sir, so if you just make a question.
Yes, I do.
Filing association.
Kevin Brown, 611 South Champion owner.
This application for 611 South Champion Avenue is conceptual, so it's proposing exterior alterations, including removal of the metal staircase from the rear to west elevation, and then converting an existing doorway that the staircase led up to, and to install a photo window. So the rear 1.5-story addition, or that volume at the L plan home, appears on the 1901 Sanborn maps, and this volume can also be seen on the 1899 base real estate atlas. A single-story porch appears on the 1921 through the 1961 Sanborn maps. However, that rear porch is no longer present and does not appear in planning photos from the early 2000s. So the porch portion has been demolished for a number of years now. Now, the 1961 Sanborn map documents the property as having been divided into 2 flats from that previous single-family home use. So the rear door may have been installed around this time, mid-century, which is pretty common. When the building was converted to flats to allow more than one access point and privacy. The door likely would have replaced a window based on the design layout and then the similar mid-century conversion seen throughout the city of Columbus. A 1958 MLS photo documents the current siding was also installed at that point. Unfortunately, that photo only shows the front of the house. At the January business meeting, the commission asked to confirm if the new shake siding is intended to match the existing cedar shake on the house. The commission asked if there was an interior reason why there's proposed to be a wall-behind window or the faux window. The commissioners present noted that they agree a window is likely present in place of the door and can support a conversion back to the original window. The commission asked if there any interior physical signs of the door area having been altered. The commission asked if the window will be the same size as the other windows. The commission asked if any site work is proposed, such as paving the driveway, etc., and noted that the applicant may need to come back for review if additional site work is proposed as part of a future application. So this is a conceptual application, so the commissioners should offer design feedback that can be utilized by the applicant to further refine the proposal for review in a future HRC meeting, and so no action is required. The basis for the staff recommendation is the City Code 316.11, standards for alterations, specifically numbers 1, 4, 6, 10, 11, and 12.
Thank you. Is there anything the applicant would like to add before we stop our session?
I just knew you had a lot of questions and this, my desire is actually to take the stairs down because it's going back to a single residence. And it's kind of like my stairway to nowhere right now, so. And the door as well to be altered. I had talked to Jacqueline, I believe, in recently or several months ago. She said something about possibility of that window being there. One of the questions I think you had when you met several weeks ago was why faux? I know you're not excited about that, but this area right where behind that door is the only area that I can actually put an additional shower. And also a 3-piece bathroom in there.
And we've done that before.
But because it is such a high pitch roof, a 912, it doesn't give me a whole lot of interior space. So when I put those walls in to make that 3-piece change into that bathroom, the only place I have to put it is right where that door is going to be. And because I'm only going to have probably about 5 feet in width when it's all said and done. because of the high pitch of the roof. So that was my reasoning behind there. I was just trying to accommodate what Jacqueline had said, maybe about putting a window in there. It's, my remedy was that I would use a lumber material that is treated, and then I would just put the same wrapping of the windows outside on the other side of the house, all over the house. It's wrapped that way, just around that, in that area, and make it look like, for aesthetic purposes, there was a window there as from a distance.
If,
So.
if we could break this down into just a couple of things from a concept standpoint, is anybody objecting to the windows there? No. Okay, great.
It is so bad.
Shake is already in the house.
No.
Okay. So now we're down to really just window and door discussion. I do want to point out, Clyde had actually brought up page 5. The air, sorry, 7 aerial. So if you look at the house on the right, it's the same house, left.
Right.
You can see there's a window.
Mhm.
So really, I guess rather than trying to do a faux window, you probably just need to buy a window and trim it out.
Well, I have actually two sashes that are a part of the property when I was going through it that was left there. So, I mean, they're two sashes and they're still in good condition. All of my sashes are really in good condition.
Just paint it black on the inside and then
Good.
build your wall.
Okay.
You allow that before it's impressive.
Sounds good.
I think we need to see trim. So you need to just do some sketches real quick, though, just give us the details of the trim. What does the jam look like and the sill? How your measurements, right, sizes, update the elevation. But I think this is a pretty straightforward case.
I think the only question I may have is that, if you look at some earlier photos of the back of the building, the shake went all the way to the roof.
The shape, I'm sorry, you said what?
Shake, the finish material,
Mhm.
those tiles went all the way to the
Right.
peak of the roof. I'm unsure, but it looks like in the drawing that you have,
Right.
that you're gonna do only like 4 or 5, or are you going all the way?
No, I'm going all the way to the top. I just got tired. And that's why I put an arrow down and saying new shakes.
Okay.
Sorry.
Staff clarify that. I think if staff would be okay, could we actually approve this conditioned on submitting drawings to staff?
I would be comfortable with that.
Okay.
If staff feels reasonable.
I just want to be sure the windows size are appropriate.
Yeah, so we just want to make sure we are able to get scale and measure drawing for that final detail, and that will give us that information about the window too.
So those sashes, I've already looked at them and they're exactly
You just need to measure those out, get those on our revised drawing.
Right.
Staff needs to be okay with what is proposed. So if staff has any question, they'll come back to us. They will be able to approve.
okay.
Can we go to photo 1 real quick? On the ground, next to the fence.
Yes. That was one of the sashes that I
Is
actually,
that it? Okay.
yeah. So it is, if you look at all the other windows,
They look kind of big.
I know, they are. This is an exact match to the rest of them. And that would be one of the sashes that I actually did find there. We're gonna use it.
I would say as long as the replacement window infill is the same as the other 2 lower, size wise, I think that's perhaps the goal.
Right,
Okay, good.
yes.
One thing to clarify too, you're not proposing any site work in this project, and aside from removing.
I am not gonna put a driveway in or blacktop it or anything
That
like
would
that.
require its own site plan, I think, so just want to make sure.
If there is a gravel fill that I have to put in because, all the construction and everything and trucks and things of that nature, can I just come in with a base of what's been there all the time, just to kind of fill in the low areas?
Because there's implications on zoning depending.
Yeah, I think zoning just throughout the state of Columbus, they don't permit installation of gravel as like a parking surface. It's something, throughout, those people who do it, and over time, if they add new gravel, they get caught. It's only if it's like in that specific area, it hasn't been expanded, there's already a gravel section that hasn't been updated since 1985, can they be okay with it? So you need to touch base with the zoning department.
Okay. I just will say that's what's in there now. It's just been gravel for as long as every picture that I've seen.
Versus old, but we get it. You have to make a formal amendment to your application.
I would just be doing it to keep tires from getting bogged down in the muddy areas. And it's only probably a 12 by 4 or 5 foot wide.
Unfortunately, approved by just a verbal representation. I was sure to have together what you're proposing to staff and share that.
All right.
Maybe a little bit of that.
I'm saying,
Maybe able to.
okay,
So better drawings, dimensions, final details with the infill. The shade and then the colors. I think the final colors of what you're gonna paint.
we've already kind of established the colors because I've already been doing other things with COAs and this is the only area I haven't gotten done because of obviously we're working on this tonight, but the color is a slate gray for the body. And then the trim is a black color.
Okay.
And that was already approved quite
As long
some
as
time
it's
ago.
consistent with the prior approval that was.
Right,
keeping
yeah, I'm
Guidelines, great.
not varying from anything that,
Because this is a new beast, but yeah.
I'm not gonna vary anything from what we've already gotten approval for as far as
Sounds good.
colors.
Really like your,
Stairway to heaven.
your representation. It's really good.
Yep.
It's all done. Yeah.
Really? Okay,
For a concept, even. Well done.
I tried, but my hand got tired. I couldn't put all the shakes in. So I was just trying to,
Shake.
Do a little squiggly. Say.
I was all doing this by hand. I wish I had a program.
Your hand might be a little more tired.
It's good.
So if there's a motion on this, then. Staff.
You can have to come back to, because, you staff at business meeting too.
Sorry, hit the tablet.
Yeah, you have to, yeah,
You're gonna be fine.
all right. For application for move to application, actually COA 240005.3, 611 South Champion Avenue. Today, the permission to be approved. With the condition that the drawings will be updated to add a note that Cedar Jake is going to continue to the route. Additional drawings that call out the detail and measurements of the window sashes that are going to go in, which are original to the house as they exist. And the demolition of the staircase as well. And the rear door will be replaced with a window. Yes, and the transition of the rear door turning into a window, as we see with other houses in the neighborhood.
Clearly just based on precedent. And then the other thing would be details of everything, the trim, jam, and silver machines. Just have some detail on, what the sizes are of the jam, so.
It's good. It's really good. Second.
Motion is,
Further discussion, further.
No, I think we're good.
okay, all in favor, say aye.
Opposed? Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Have a good night.
Going back to the agenda, so it looks like We have one that did not come forward, that's 590 Franklin Avenue. Yeah, we can talk about that. We just,
Yeah, I could touch base on it. So 590 Franklin Avenue, they were proposing siding replacement. And that would be replacing the existing siding with new 6-inch reveal hardy board. The existing siding is wood and includes variations of drop siding, tongue and groove, fiber siding. And then there's some non-historic, we know it's non-historic vertical siding at the gable. We know it's non-historic because there is photos from the file from the late 90s from when they removed insul brick siding. And when they took this off, you can see the different sidings that were present on this building. But the roof, you could tell, had been altered. And then it looks like the applicant in that late 90s at that time decided to kind of replace the vertical siding without approval. So I believe they had come back in that same year, got retroactive approvals. That's how we know, from those photos and that documentation that the vertical siding is not historic. The rest of the siding was there when they removed that insul brick, however, and it was repaired and repainted. And then let's see, I think overall the commission had asked that the applicant submit some close-up photos of the older siding, just showing some areas of deterioration better. And then the commission had noted that if the historic siding is found it can no longer be repaired, any new siding would need to match historic siding style and dimensions. The commission had also noted that the roof line had been previously altered, and that the vertical non-historic siding was likely replaced to address that roof line alteration. And so asked what the proposal is for that vertical siding area. And then also asked if the new siding is proposed to be smooth, avoiding the filigree. And then we also noted that there's the option to the applicant for staff to conduct a site visit so we can obtain additional photo documentation and just evaluate that siding in person. In case there's any deterioration that does not come through photos or other things out in the field. So we were recommending continuing, hadn't received additional information or felt the applicant at this time. So just continuing based on the uncertainty of the siding condition and what they're proposing.
since I suggest it's the original follow.
And there's no close photos of right deterioration.
No, I can go back and check. Sometimes the way we have this portal, if they don't let us know, then we don't always know that they updated stuff. But the last time we checked, there wasn't, didn't see that thing.
Yeah, it looks pretty dark, dude. Me, my side was pretty good.
I think you want to fix it. But
Yeah.
it's gonna be hard to get something to last that long.
So there is a motion to consider, is there a second?
Second.
Motion a second, any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye. Abstention, motion passes. Moving on to Jack, and is there any items for new or old business?
No items for new or old business.
Hearing none, is there any which,
Second.
okay, having a motion in a second, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, abstention, meeting adjourned at 5:35 p.m.
I'm sorry, I made the last question.
Listen, you can send that. You did a great job.
You're what? You did great.
I chuckled a little because I turned around real quick.
Yes.
I didn't even surprise me for motioning. I couldn't hardly hold it in. Nothing was bad. It was just kind of an interesting. I wasn't chuckling at you.
I just want to make sure you know.
By then.
That's bullshit. Yeah, she played us.
Played us.
Oh, she played us really good. I almost bought it and I started.